It's finally happening. It's a 754 stream. I'm not sponsored by these people, but brought to you by this thing. Yeah, new capture card as recommended by Mick and maybe tech tested as well. Not sure. A lot of people have been talking about it being good. Now, from what I see from my limited testing of like half an hour of screwing around, pros, it's actually working with this setup. So let's go back a bit. I have a ton of AGP cards, and this board is AGP only because I bought it for Team Cup, which had an AGP 3 Marco 1 stage, limited to 754. But I can capture AGP cards usually because they don't have digital outs. So my little box of tricks is pretty much useless. This is an MX 400. I remember these back in the day being really, really good value, but analog only out. And my capture cards are in HDMI, and most capture cards are in HDMI, and I don't want to be capturing any analog stuff. This I think is PCI, of course, analog out only. This is all my PCI and AGP, like non-PCI Express stuff. Weird little sockets on there, an S3 Vergy, something like that. I probably mispronounced that. Next one, a Rage 3D AGP. This is early Radeon, of course, analog only. This is the card I use when I just bench privately because it just works in every system I've tried it in. What is it? It's got some wind bond on it. I have no idea what this is, but very reliable card. Analog only. And here's an S3 Trio, also analog only. Seems to be PCI, I guess. That's PCI, right? And last but not least, the card I wanted to bench for Team Cup. 9800 Pro, top of the line. I know there was in like XT afterwards, but I think with the release of the 9000 series, this was the top card. It's even got Molex power, and it's got digital out, but it doesn't post in this board for some reason. Actually, the analog is even dead, so I have to use digital out. So I can't post it in this board at all because it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't want to cooperate. So I had to buy another card, and this is it. It's a Gigabyte 9250, and it's got a DVI out and an analog out. So that was the first issue. Let's continue. What was the second issue? Well, I've got a couple of SATA ports here. Even though this is a 16-year-old board, I've got SATA. SATA was making me happy until I realized it didn't want to recognize the drive at all. And I'm not sure what that's about. Maybe it just might be such early SATA that it's some sort of incompatibility. So next thing, and this is the first time I even got this running. I can't really show it to you all that much, but under here, we've got hiding a little flop. So it's a little PATA to SATA adapter that sits straight into the PATA port. I don't know if you call it port, PATA connector. And it's working on this board. Again, it's got some dodgy compatibility issues. But it works on this board and it boots from this board, and I'm using right now just an AMD XP. So we've got working digital out, working just boot from any drive. I mean, I have some PATA drives, but that's quite involved. You know, you've got to reinstall the OS because I don't really have a way to image on and off of PATA drives. So good that we can use SATA drives, good that we can use just a plug and play card, but I still couldn't capture somehow. So I have a 4x4 HDMI splitter, that in combination with my Blackmagic, which is what I use for my, let's point like this, my two cameras. It just somehow, this combination of rig, graphics card, and matrix splitter didn't want to work. So funnily enough, I can set this to full HD, but that didn't work. So new capture card to the rescue, which can bypass the HDMI splitter, because unlike the Blackmagic, it's got HDMI pass through, but it's quite particular about the so this capture card seems to be quite particular about the resolutions that it supports. I think I can actually just show this. So here's the drop down. Full HD didn't seem to work for me. It just squashed the image without me being able to unsquash it. And then you've got a lot of low reses here, which means, unfortunately, I think I'll be sending this card back because it's not capping bias for me. If I leave it on auto, strange things happen. So I have to keep it locked onto 1280 by 720. But that means BIOS doesn't work. The post process isn't capped. You'll see the next time I try to reboot. And crucially, the whole reason why I was investigating getting a new capture card to begin with is this freaking magical resolution of 1280 by 1024 in 3 Mark 06. No goddamn capture card is able to capture that for some reason. Don't tell me why. I don't know if you guys remember the pre-720p days, but there was a certain set of resolutions that were pretty standard, and 1280 by 1024 was one of them. That's the whole reason the test runs that resolution in the first place. So I don't know why it's such rocket science trying to run this thing, but today, actually, let's go back. God damn it. Can I at least view my account? How is everyone anyway? This is, oh, for God's sake. Okay, you can see it anyway. This, I don't want to log in. I just want to see the goddamn picture. It's just a picture sharing app. Why should I want to log in? Anyway, this is the chip I've got under here right now. First time I've run direct die. I mean, I've done direct die on the stream before, but that was for deleted chips. This is the first time I'm running direct die on a chip that doesn't have a lid, which is this mobile Sempron 2800 plus. I got a bit scared of just putting the block on there, so I remember that I have some socket A water block spacers for direct die on socket A, and I tried it. It doesn't fit, but it's thermal take, copper shim, cool nonetheless. So this is what we're left with. Got our chiller there. We've got a stick of Corsair, single stick of Corsair. Interesting setup all the way around. We've got our VIA board. That's all I could find. And we've got our system running. Ooh, I never realized there was an official or maybe an unofficial name for the different AGP specs. So 3.5 man, that BIOS is old, and I think it might need a reflash. The other challenge I came across is it doesn't like to reboot. Like it just, I need to sort of like pull a 24. It's not even a 24 pin. The 20 pin every time I want to reboot, pretty much. It seems to be really finicky about CMOS batteries. Since we're going to have boot issues, let us add a little postcode indicator. How's everyone doing, by the way? This is very seat of the pants type stuff. Ooh, we're almost there. I think this will be, let's keep the aliens' feet in there. Boom. Easy. So, yeah. End of the lockdown this week. I was on Monday, this last Monday, and I haven't done anything post lockdown yet. There were people who had, I mean, there's still capacity limits for pubs and things, so people had reservations for like pub lunches every single day of the week, like 5 running weeks, 5 running days. But I just didn't feel a need. I just got my second shot on Tuesday. You know, you're supposed to sort of wait 2 extra weeks after that to get the maximum immunity anyway. So yeah, we've got White Shark on here. You excited? How did Team Cup go? Are you happy about the outcome? I just want to change one more thing. So this mobile chip I have under there, sad state of affair. Well, I suppose power limiting and stuff has become more sophisticated, but sort of a sad state of affairs that you can't put mobile chips into desktop motherboards anymore. Well, mobile chips aren't generally aren't socketed anymore anyway. So yeah, so this mobile chip only just got in today, so I'm going to change my night bot. So mobile Sempron 2800 plus, and the chip name, the stream. Oh, I can't read that. I didn't participate. Fair enough. There's real life things to think about. So the stream title is Sicillian VIABility, because actually what I have been through, and that might have to be off stream, but before I bought this mobile chip, I have 4 Sempron 2600 plus Palermos, and Palermo is a city in Sicily, and Via is the chipset manufacturer. So the lame play on words was Sicillian VIABility. I like looking at the bottom of these chips. They have so few pins. It's incredible. Okay, so maybe depending on how all of this goes, we might move on to the 2600 pluses. But that's for later. Now, basics on this generation. I mean, there was the FX chips on 939, but in general, locked multis on this. So we've got a locked upper multi of 8.0. We've got a single core, single thread. We have got the 90 nanometer process. I've set 1.5, so the vid reporting is not working. That's not unusual. Got an Asus board, and 200 is the base clock. So sorry, what was Sonora? Sonora. That must be another town in Italy. Let's just check that. Yeah, 2800 plus Sonora. So we know what we're talking about. In case you guys don't know CPU World, highly recommended. Roma, no, not Roma. We want the other one. Dublin. Wow, there was a lot of different mobile Semprons. I'm glad I'm checking this. Georgetown, no. Sonora. And let's also pull up 2600 plus Palermo. Really bad Italian accent here, but you know. So, no level 3 cache, 256 level 2, 90 micron stepping D0 versus E6 stepping, still 90 micron, still single cut channel, still a single chip, single core, I mean, and double, half the cache. So the desktop chip has half the cache of the mobile. That's interesting. Both 754, of course, the K8 architecture. So 1600 real versus 1600 real. So back in the day, they considered this extra cache to be worthy of a 200 plus extra rating. So great. Yeah. So I mean, DDR4 420 isn't actually that bad, is it? Considering I haven't said anything, but CL3 for DDR1 is pretty lame. For shits and giggles, let's start W prime. I mean, the OS implications of all this must be just crazy. Sonora Harborbot. I haven't even. This is interesting. I mean, I usually look at stuff before I bench it, but this is the first time I'm looking at this chip. Wow, it's actually been benched quite a bit. 26 minutes SuperPi. Zorch.that CPU on SS. Zorch has been around for a long time, haven't they? So about DDR 580, 363 bus. Interesting. Okay, so what's the W prime record? 28 minutes. Okay. Oh, maybe we won't be last. Let's put it that way. Might be even be bottleneck today. All right. So if anyone knows any good capture cards, I've run through the HD60 Pro. I mean, much before that, I had USB type capture cards, but now I'm always using internal ones. Yeah, HD60 Pro, Blackmagic. I think Blackmagic is quite good at the resolution switching, but sometimes it just lets you down. Or rather, the fact that, I mean, I don't want to be running 2 display outs out of a card at all times. Some cards don't even have that. Sometimes, you know, some cards the display cloning isn't that clean. So that's why with the Blackmagic with no pass through, because it already has 4 inputs, it doesn't really have space for a pass through on the IO shield. It's like the matrix switcher that gets me into trouble. So I think Blackmagic is quite clean. It just, I want it for 4 cameras. I think for the cameras it's just beautiful. For display cap, well, there's the issue that I do want to start running bigger rigs again, bigger streaming rigs rather than benching rigs. So I want to run 3 camera, 4 camera, especially for LN2, which actually I want to get next week. So since the lockdown is over, I'm thinking that I might go to slightly lower frequency than once a week, maybe starting next week. So Friday nights, I'm starting to realize that now that work is like picking up again and stuff, I end up really tired and stuff. And I think if I gave it like a 10-day gap sort of thing, or 9-day gap, and did a Sunday night stream, because I get LN2 on. Hi Ginger. Yeah, I have the cameras. I just these weekly streams, it means I have less time to prepare, and I just decided to go with a 2-camera setup, especially when I'm mostly talking and not really like benching all that much. But yeah, for LN2, I want to go back. I mean, I've run 4-camera setups before. So you'd have like one postcode cam, one pour cam, one rig cam, and one face cam. And I think 4 is good. I mean, you could always have more, but I think. How are you doing? I saw your picture of your dinner. Is that how we describe it? It looks epic. I don't know if you want to share, are okay with it being shared, but protein coma. How do I there we go. So this is what Ginger's having for dinner today, I guess. So nice. Yes, definitely protein coma. Okay, yeah. So that's definitely happening. I'm always looking to improve. I mean, lighting and stuff, but that's a never-ending topic. But I want to be able to bench all of the benchmarks, basically. Son's birthday. Tell him happy birthday. Yeah, so for that reason, and for the 3 Mark 06 reason, I want to be able to bench all the benches. And 06, it just, I mean, call me like naive or ignorant, but wouldn't you imagine that a PCIe card that costs a couple of $100 should be able to capture whatever fucking signal is coming through that cable? You know, okay, I'm not talking like HDMI 2.0, whatever, 4K, 120 hertz. No, not the high end stuff. I understand. I just, my argument is every signal 1080p 60 and below, so 1080p 30, 720p, whatever, every, like the 4:3 aspect ratios, the 16 is to 10, the 16 is to 9, ultra wides, even though I don't give a shit about them. Oh, by the way, I even had to install the display driver for this to work. Anyway, I'll let me get my other 2 cameras, and then I'll talk about Country Cup. So this is what I've used in the past for, like pour cams. So I have this this clamp that can pretty much go anywhere, including like where my lighting is, or on top of the screen or whatever. And then this can be sort of orientated whatever way is necessary. So that's cool for like postcode cams, pour cams, that kind of thing. And then I just have a second cheap tabletop tripod. The first is being used for the face cam, and a 4th camera. And I love these Panasonics. Highly recommended. Fully articulating screen, nice and compact, really light. Not high resolution for stills. So if you want a photo camera, don't get Micro Four Thirds Panasonic. But if you want a video camera that will never overheat, gives you 4K, really cheap, absolutely unbeatable right now. And don't believe the full frame hype. Hey, Carter. So we've got a Riesling Freak number 8, 2019. Really like obscenely, by the standards of a Riesling, it's obscenely sweet. Not using the new iPhone. It's a real thing. Like, don't get me started on this topic. It's a real thing that cameras are going, like, they're getting less popular. So the you have the smartphone taking up more and more and more of the lower end market, and then you have the high end, like the cinema camera, like $1,000, like a Sony A7, whatever. Those still sell okay, but then the middle of the market is just disappearing. A lot of the camera shops now actually are getting film cameras back in because they're getting more popular. So they can't really make any. Not everyone is going to pay $1,500 for a camera. So more and more and more is being just done with smartphones, and camera shops aren't about to start selling smartphones because you've got to, have a relationship with a carrier and all that bullshit. So what the camera shops I've noticed are doing now is they're bringing film back in, film cameras, film itself, chemicals, paper, all that stuff. And then they'll have a big section that's all very boutique, kind of like Leica cameras and Panasonic, Sony, Fujifilm. Still prefer camera. Yeah. The gap is closing so much though. Like, I don't do digital photography or digital videography except this live streaming, which isn't really videography because I'm not editing, I'm not recording it, I'm not like applying, like, whatever, changing the color and all that stuff. If I were to do it, I'd probably just use my phone. I mean, my phone does 4K and it has image stabilization. What more do you really want? And it has, I think, 20 megapixels or something. But yeah, for like this sort of thing, you can't really use four phones, can you? Sempi. Yeah, always exclamation point rig. So this is a mobile chip. So I'll just go back to it for a moment. It's a legit, like, it doesn't have a lid. It's not delidded, it just doesn't have a lid to begin with. So we're running direct eye on the chiller today. I'll just go back to it. So using a PATA to SATA adapter up here, using a brand new AGP card. I didn't have the possibility of actually outputting digital video from an AGP rig before this arrived. Yeah, and otherwise it's pretty standard stuff. Too much load for OBS. Interesting. I'm trying to sort of wrap my head around that, but yeah, it could be. All right, so League asked for a Country Cup breakdown, so let's do it. Let's break everything down. We have what is this? We're now 10 minutes already into this run, so hopefully the next 28 minutes, 18 minutes or whatever it's going to take for this W Prime run to finish, I'll get through the Country Cup as it stands right now because it's still subject to change. So we, first of all, general comments starting 1st of November, that's pretty standard. Ending 31st of December, that's pretty standard over the last 4 or 5 years. But now we have sub competitions that are AMD CPU, Intel CPU, memory, GPU, and integrated graphics. So for Team Cup, that worked really well. So I guess it's going to work well here too. So stages, 32M with Benchmade. This is going to be dominated by so 4, 6, and 8 processors. So you're talking, I suppose a 3300X wouldn't do so badly, but you likely need a 5300G for the quad core part. I mean, I'd love to run like a full pod 2500X again. I used to have one of those, but I think the IPC difference to 5th gen is just too much. 6 core 5600X, 8 core 5800X, and previously there was a 16 core sub in here, and that's like let's look it up right now. I mean, what are these things selling for? I think it's like $1,500. Yeah, so if you're, yeah, $1,200 Australian, even if you look into sold. So I'm glad that the competition didn't require 16 core only to run at single core. I mean, it's just, that would just be sort of dumb. So yeah, no problems with this stage. I mean, Benchmate, or as I call bench, okay, so you can get it around 1,000 if you're in an auction. Bench hate, as I like to call it. Yes, so tech tested. Generally, before mobile like diverged in terms of TDP, even memory standards. Like you've got to remember, like now mobile chips use like SODIMM only, and maybe not only, but SODIMM preferred, and they use the like LPDDR3, LPDDR4, LPDDR5. So that's that low power standard, which isn't necessarily supported by the desktop chips. So there's good reason now why the two are different sockets, and also of course the mobile ones are generally soldered now. But back in the day, a lot of the mobile chips were actually the best bins, because what happened was a mobile chip would be like the same package, the same core, the same everything as the desktop chip, but would actually do a better frequency at a given voltage, because they were binned for power efficiency at a given frequency, if you get me. So then, you know, if you've got two chips, one does, let's say, 3 gigahertz at 1.4, and the other one does 3 gigahertz at 1.35, and you have a skew of mobile chip that has to hit 3 gigahertz, then you want to put that lower vid essentially chip into the mobile socket, because you don't want your laptop to die. But yeah, those times are long gone. And I have the desktop chips here. They actually have a heat spreader, so I guess to save so this is what the chip in the socket would look like, except for the heat spreader. I guess the idea there was, you know, more mounting pressure on desktop means heat spreader makes more sense, or IHS I should say. And then also it's a big hunk of copper, so you sort of want to save some weight basically. So yeah, I'm fine with the 32M stage. It'll be very interesting. But again, bench height, I mean, Windows 7, if we could have just said regular SuperPi rules apply, and that means Win 10 is banned without Benchmate, which would mean if you want to sub on 10 with Benchmate or 7 without, you know, be your guest sort of thing. GPU Pi for CPU 1 billion, that'll just all be FX. Very, very nice. How can I bench 754? I mean, the wine helps. This is mostly a talking show. Don't you like a talk show? It's don't you realize? In fact, I specifically started a 1024M run. That's gonna last 28 minutes in order to be able to focus on talking about Country Cup. I'll run like 1M or something later. Okay, so DDR3 only. As you might know, AMD didn't release any high-end desktop until Threadripper. Therefore, the best GPU Pi systems is up to 8 cores, which is FX 8 cores. So your 9590s, 8350s, 8320s, that kind of thing. PC Mark 10 Express by subfamily. So Ryzen 5 only. I think the obvious little thing to talk about here is that there is such a thing as the Ryzen 5 1600 AF, which is on 12 rather than 14 nanometer, and therefore clocks better. So the optimal, it's not rocket science, but the optimal lineup would be 1600 AF, which probably still beats the 40 nanometer 1600X. When I was binning these back in the day, I didn't see much difference between 1600s and 1600Xs. It was just whatever the customer wanted to buy, basically, is what got slapped on the stamped on the IHS, basically. 2600X, 3600X, and then 5600X. Need good storage. I don't know what PC Mark 10 Express needs these days. Fun stage. I mean, we had 7 last year, so makes sense to continue in that spirit. This stage, I am glad that there are no limitations. This is the 8 gigahertz stage. I am so pumped for this. Hi, Shmomo. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're okay down there in Tassie. I heard about a bit of a regional lockdown going on, even though your borders are closed. I hope everything's fine. Anyway, CPU frequency. So you've got FM2, does okay. You can get your AG there, or then obviously AM3 Plus. Looking forward to this. I already have a 8.2 gigahertz personal best that I want to improve. Let's maybe quickly look at it. I think I can get more out of it. This is the chip I bought from Dino. So 8.18. What is it on? The regular 5. Maybe the Formula Z will do better. I have a few ideas how I can improve this. The whole per module thing, and there's so many. This FX frequency is actually a pretty fascinating benchmark. Like validate that stage previously was AM4 plus. Sorry, AM4. Geez, there's never going to be a plus, is there? AM4 frequency, and it's like, that's dumb. Sorry, but that's dumb. Who wants to validate on a modern platform? It's just sort of meaningless, you know. Oh yes, I got 5.9 gigahertz on a 5950X. Great. Now let's move on with our lives, you know. Whereas 8.3 on FX, that will be special. Anyway, AMD overall, I really have absolutely no complaints. Intel, which, you know, usually I'm a little bit less familiar with. XTU 2.0, I think, I mean, I mentioned this last stream when I was actually benching 2.0. I'm in favor of this becoming a thing again. Hobart is going into lockdown as of 6. Someone snuck into Tassie. Did as they pleased. People are selfish, aren't they? I mean, look, I know so many people. I'm not even going to talk about myself. I do this too, but like the point is, I know so many people, even though the lockdown lifted on Monday, they're still sort of keeping to the pre-lockdown rules because they just feel like they don't necessarily have to do X, Y, or Z, you know, because non-essential shops are open now. So you could go whatever to Pet Barn and buy a new house for your dog or whatever the hell people like to do, you know, but it's just not necessary. You know, I'm definitely sort of in the camp of slowly easing out of it. Like I went to the dark room last night and did a bit of processing of film and paper, but I was on my own, and pretty much that thing shouldn't have been closed in the first place because it's the loneliest place in the world. I definitely don't go there to socialize. I just listen to a podcast and splash around a few chemicals. So that's, I suppose, a post-lockdown thing because it was technically closed before that. But otherwise, I haven't gone to any shops that were closed previously. I haven't gone to the pub. I haven't gone to a restaurant. I just don't feel the need. You know, I've just gotten so used to lockdown life. I'm going to ease out of it. Maybe in a couple of days' time, I'll, you know, previously there was a 5K radius. So maybe in a couple of days' time, I'll leave the 5K radius. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So XTU 2.0, with how many bad benchmarks have come out, like the render a couchathon that is Cinebench 20, the just pure recycled garbage that is CPU Profile Max. Even things like Y Cruncher have their problems. XTU used to be hated, and now the new XTU is like the old XTU, and the like quality of the average benchmark has gone down enough that I'm like almost sort of excited that XTU is coming back. But the one part that I mean, these specific processor core counts. I think I like them, but yeah, 16 core is a bit like, yeah, it can be quite challenging to get a 7960X. The way the X299 prices have deteriorated, it's sort of like you can almost sort of get the 18 core for the same price as the 12 core. So then the 16 core becomes a pretty bad buy. Geekbench 5 single, I can't say I have played around with this a lot, but I wouldn't imagine it to be all that different to Geekbench 4 single. No limitations and 4 submissions. So if I had to just spitball it, I would say the top 4 would be something like Alder Lake will be banned, so it'll be, it's Intel CPUs only, 11900K, 11900KF, yeah, 11700K, 11700KF, pretty much, because you've got per core overclocking on Intel side now too, right? Finally, Phenom came out with it in 2009. Finally, Intel has it. So slow. Y-Cruncher 2.45B. Someone told me earlier that this stage changed. So, 12 core. Okay, so you need your absolutely ideal here would be 7800X, 7920X, and then obviously 7350K. This stage has had some alterations. Yeah, I'm not a fan of BCLK. It's just it's the most anti-bench of anti-benches. People complain about CPU-Z validations being an anti-bench, but this is like as anti-bench with regards to CPU-Z validations as CPU-Z validations is to actual benching, especially on modern platforms. But I don't really mind it. I mean, it's the sort of stage where no one is going to have sort of standout performance, I don't think, because it's just such tight margins. You know, something like an Apex 10, let's say it might do 390 on air and then 420 on LN2 if you're new to the bench and you're just, yeah, I mean, it's just, but anyway, what would be my estimate of the best boards? I would say the Apex 6 with KVX in it, Apex 13, Apex 11 maybe, and an Impact 7 I think pretty much would be the best. Okay, memory, which is a fascinating one. 3 stages here. Funny that Y-Cruncher isn't in the memory, but anyway. Pi Prime I can't really say anything about. No limitations, so you've got to have 3 unique memory kits. Probably people are going to run like Cole DJR and stuff. I don't know, I've literally never run this bench, but fun to have it in here. I don't know why it has to be with bench hate. There's no frequency validation, like frequency limiting factor. Pi fast limited to 4.5 gigahertz. 3 Mac 11, fair enough. This is not overclocking, right? Freezing a CPU in order to run it below stock is not overclocking. You can tell me whatever you want. I don't know why. I mean, this is just, I think this is just League trying to be like a bit awkward with things, you know? And then via bench hate, where this is where it's actually, this is the third bench hate stage, but the first one where it's sort of justified because you have an actual frequency limit. But Pi Fast, of course, it's the biggest cache, best IMC chips is going to win. I don't mind it. 4-core CPUs only. Yeah, so it's the usual suspects, right? 6700K, 7700K, 8350K. But I think that's without hyperthreading, right? It's still, I mean, you're running out of alternatives, so I wonder if something like a 4770K could compete all out versus the non-HT chips. I don't know. I don't know. 4-core, of course. 7740X, 7640X. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's again not such a big deal this stage. And here we have lots of little stages in 3D. 01 is fun since the world record is under threat. So the 900 series is the last series to have XP drivers. 01 is faster than XP, despite all that Ralph was trying to claim for years and years and years with his cheated score that finally got taken down this year. So yeah, 2 unique video cards. So that would be a 980 and a 980 Ti. Fire Strike without limitations. I guess a 6900 XT and a 3090. Vantage, 2 GPU. So dual 285s and dual 280s or 275s. Whichever clock's better, basically. Vantage is fun, especially dual GPU. Of course, ideally you want like a 5950X or a 7980XE is your system to get the CPU score up. I like Vantage, I like Fire Strike, I like 01. So Wildlife Extreme, the only sort of little issue with this I have is by banning GDR6 and GDR6X, you're effectively making it an HBM stage. I mean, I think the 1080 Ti is still GDDR5, right? Why is it so slow? God damn it. There should be another, the way it says PCIe 3, there should be like not just the core that's being used, but also the memory type. I'm blind. Where is it? The GDDR5X. So yeah, I guess Wildlife, you could be talking like, how many subs is it? Is it 3? Like something like 1080 Ti, 1080 Vega 64, or maybe 1080 Ti, Vega 64, Vega 56. I don't know. You can't really take the Vegas cold, so my feeling is 2 10 series cards and a Vega. And of course, we need to ban, because people always try to take advantage of this because people are just mean. I think we need to explicitly ban workstation cards, whatever, like the, what are they even called anymore? The it's gone out of my head. Black, something else. Titan, yeah. You need to ban the Titan V, the Titan Pascal, all that bullshit. Titan Black, yeah. Because then this GDDR6 and 6X limitation almost forces you into even more expensive cards than the ones that are being banned, which is just counterintuitive. GPU Pi 3.3, 32B. Again, like 6900 XT. You know, they're just the fastest card around. I mean, cool. 32B stages are always cool. I sort of wonder what the record even is these days. Single card. See, it's only 1 minute. I remember running and being like 30 minutes. Yeah, exactly. There's tons of Titans and things that need to be banned. I'll put a comment in the where I have so little space, god damn it. I need a bigger desk, pretty much. So 1 minute and 34. I remember running like Vega 13 minutes. Yep. Anyway, but GPU Pi I'm always in favor of on CPU or on GPU. So having the the AMD one on CPU and this one on cards is nice. Superposition Extreme. It's 3 cards by family, so there's no limitation. So obviously, RTX 3000 series, probably next RTX 2000 series, and then like RX 6000. Let's look at the single card ranking just to see what the ambient state of play is. So that's the 1080p preset. We had that dual card or dual core card stage last year. That was fun. I think I ran the HT7990. So actually a good way of doing it is you go into search here and then you go into superposition 1080p and then you go single card, hardware rank first, and then sort by score. So yeah, 3090, 3080 Ti, Titan, and then yeah, so you would go 3090. Is the Titan RTX classified as an RTX 2000 series card or an RTX 3000 series card? I'm guessing 2000 series. So yeah, if you really wanted to just win using money and money alone, it would be RTX 3090, Titan RTX, should probably be banned, and then 6900 XT. Anyway, let's not get too far into that whole discussion. And last but not least, as I'm looking at my score and it's about 66% in, getting SLI to work. I know all of the tricks on the AMD side on how to get SLI Crossfire to work. Oh, that's a good point. Is it? It's not dual card, is it? Hold on. I think it's just single card. If you're asking in general, yes, it is a flaky benchmark. On the AMD side, you have to explicitly define a Crossfire profile and then set the driver to specifically use that profile in that one benchmark, and then it will work. But the good thing is that in the top right hand corner you have that GPU monitoring where it shows you the GPU utilization and all that, so you'll know straight away where the Crossfire is working. Yeah, it's just a single card. Okay, iGPUs. So Wildlife using Intel, and yeah, so basically like 11900Ks, 10900Ks, you know, the usual. It'll be fun. I can't remember running it. Is there yes. Let's turn off the sound. No ads. I'm not showing you guys ads. That's dumb. Okay, so I wish full screen didn't let you page down like this. It's so dumb. Full screen means full screen. That reminds me of Vantage. That's pretty cool. Got your critters. I always like it when there's actual like critters in a bench, in a 3D Mark bench. It's got like a UFO type theme. Okay, I like it already. Maybe I'm looking forward to running this. I sort of vaguely remember running it once, maybe. How long is this thing? Just another minute and a bit. That's okay. I'm liking the full moon effect there. Ooh. Those snakes look a bit too much like Dune. By the way, anyone watch Dune? It's not coming out in Australia until November, I think. They pushed back the launch because of the lockdowns here. But I've heard good things about it, so I'm looking forward to it. James Bond, on the other hand, not gonna go watch that one. So many icons on this person's. Oh, that's it. So just a single GT. Fair enough. Short and sweet. Godzilla 4K. I mean, I ran Godzilla last year. Use AMD processors only. It'll be interesting to see which iGPUs come out on top. I don't really know how it all works, you know, because the newer iGPUs have fewer cores, but better memory performance. The older iGPUs have more cores, but worse memory and worse core IPC as well. Like CPU IPC. GPU Pi 1B, no limitations, so AMD is going to win because they have better iGPUs. And there again, the same thing. So yeah, overall, I think it's decent. Some of the early stages look really dumb, like CPU Profile Max, but the moderators have taken up the input from the community in the thread, which is really nice. And now I think we have a really nice and balanced competition on our hands. As long as those Titans get banned and stuff, because I mean, hardware availability in the pandemic is just pretty much non-existent at the moment. This Lumi run on the front page is just insane. 6.4 gigahertz on 775. Can I if I go 32M here and then restrict by socket, how about rank 1 only? Yeah, so 6.6 on the 8600. I mean, I wonder how many 8700s were produced, because if someone went around and been through every 8700 ever produced, I'm sure they could get, so 660 on the 8600. So if there was 660 is a 10.5 multi. $6.9. Okay. But yeah, there's a potential. Yeah, so this is not a BCLK limited at all. This is just core limited. 624 BCLK. Okay. Anyway, I think Lumi is doing good things. 675 through 32M on. The sick thing is just totally like unmodded Northbridge. Just like, I mean, the board itself is modded and stuff, but the fact that maybe he pulled the fan off, but it doesn't really. Okay, maybe this fan is blowing a bit over the Northbridge. The fact that he's on air there is just. Hi, Sean. Welcome. We're benching a little bit of 754 today, and I would like to get a sense for. I mean, what was even the is there Wikipedia? Yes. What was the big chip? Yeah, so Newark 3400 plus was the biggest thing that was ever released. There was 3400 plus Newarks and Venice. Venice I think was a later process with less cache or something. I have a 3400 plus Venice. Wow, that's quite close. The Venice efficiency is insane. Let's have a look. That Infinity board. $500 CL 1.5. Yeah, so CL2 only. Infinity versus what? Epochs. Huh. Interesting. We're almost there, but I would like to also have a look to see what got the most points. So the 2800 plus Palermo, actually, that's with 32M, but in these older generations, people tended to run 1M more. I should be getting Palermos. I have 2600 plus Palermos, which are nice, actually. Wow, that's a pretty retro OS there. On water, 2.9 on water, that's not bad at all. It's a lot of bidding that's going on there. What about frequency? Not by points, but by score. See, the mobile chips are out on top. So there was 4,000 plus. That's crazy that the SKUs on mobile went higher than on desktop. What kind of cool? Like, is that LN2? LN2 on a mobile chip. I love it. I totally love it. What have I gotten in? Man, I thought I got some juicy items in. I mean, I got a Carta sent me a X299 D-Litter, but that's not so exciting, is it? It's been quiet hardware wise, I have to say, as we're at 84%. So I have been doing a little bit of a bin through on FM2 on the Wi-Fi board. I didn't really find standout chips. So all of the lower SKUs, so 6400K, 6420K, 5400K, and a 750K, which is this weird chip without an iGPU. $2,775 seconds. Yeah, guys. God, I feel like a boring old fart tonight for some reason. Yeah, I thought I'd have something to talk about, but I mean, Country Cup has sort of been the only thing that man, mine did nothing. I actually, so I have this sort of ongoing thing where I want to do what is it, what's the let's go back to FM2. So the 6000 series can do 8G, but I think the 5000 series might be able to as well. See 7979. Let's not do hardware first, but just all scores and best submission. Yeah, obviously it's 8.5, blah 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 blah. I've done 7.592. That was painful. Would help if I actually showed that screen. Bilko has a pretty good 6600K, and then my 5800K is actually not that far away from 8G. So no one's ever done 8G on the 5000 series. So Trinity, I want to do that. I have a few spare chips, but that 75K that I have is just awful. I'm actually gonna like throw it out or give it away to someone because it did. I mean, it is a four core, so there's more heat. But the dual cores I ran before, like the best 6400K, I think did like 5.2 or something on pretty high voltage on chiller, and this only did. First of all, I've run on LN2 before and I only did 6.7. But then all I could tease out of it, even for something really light like Cinebench 2003, was 4.6 on water, which is nothing. Yeah, I don't think they're a very good bin. Like a 5800K would, which is basically the same chip, higher bit, still a quad core, same generation of chips, so still Trinity, but with an iGPU. I think that's a better bet. I mean, if you can get it cheap, great. But yeah, so I ran some of those chips through, found out that some stuff was dead. I think my 6300 was dead, which no great loss. That's a locked chip anyway. I'd like to run through it all for iGPU as well, but I'm having problems clocking that. Yeah, now I think I'm gonna get some LN2 next week, and I think what I'm gonna prep is GTX 770 3 micro 3. So way back when I actually had the gold in this, and it was all on chiller. But now I'm only like, I'm 9th, so that'll tell you the record progression. This used to be, my card clocks so well. I mean, 1568 on chiller, not even a very good chiller with Chinese paste. I mean, Bullshooter's, I don't know what Bullshooter's doing, but he's on LN2 and he's clocking worse. So basically, yeah, I'm gonna do all LN2 because I have a Windows 7 BIOS now for the Tachyon. But Alder Lake is so close, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, there's still tons to be done, but I need to have gaps. Stuff like Cinebench 20, I've never run on a dual core, for example, or a tri-core. I mean, I have, but not competitively. So there's quite a few gaps since I think the beginning of the year they introduced PC Mark 10, Express as a global, White Cruncher 1B, and Cinebench 20, and they got rid of Cinebench 15, W Prime 1024M, and something else that I'm not remembering. Oh yeah, Geekbench 4 single. What else can I talk about? I did a little bit of a 2500K bin earlier. I'm down to one motherboard for that platform. Where is it? Let's get it. I sold a whole ton of Maximus 4s, but I still have the Maximus 5 Extreme. What a legend of a board. Great. It's a little bit finicky. It doesn't like the red memory slots for some reason. At least the copy that I have of it. But my two Z77 OCFs are both dead, which was my board of choice on that platform. So what are you gonna do? Gotta run the Maximus 5. Yeah, so I found a really bad ship. Let's go. Do we have time? Don't want to miss the end of this epic 30-minute run or whatever it is. 2500K. So this is my progress so far. I don't know what bad batch means, but 7 chips in. This is the chip I binned earlier. It barely idled 50x, which is really bad for Sani. So that's sold. I still have the 56x to play around with. I feel like I haven't really. I mean, have I? Let's go over here. I'll browse around. 98%. What's 3,000 seconds? 6,000 seconds would be 100 minutes. 50 minutes? No, that doesn't make any sense. This hasn't been running for 50 minutes. Man, never do math on stream, as they say. No, this has not been running for 53 minutes. Really? What am I doing wrong? I thought the record was 28 minutes. Anyway, you live and learn. I'll do 32 M runs and, you know. Ooh, I don't think I've ever seen 100% stick for so long in W Prime in all my benching life. Let's work it out exactly. So 3,000 divided by 60 is 50 minutes. And then 266, that's another 4 minutes. So 54 minutes, 26 seconds, and 485 thousandths of a second. Doesn't sound very good, does it? But look, it's a beginning. Sonora. I thought the record was 28 minutes. What am I doing wrong? It is 28 minutes. Oh, that's right. There was a big fall off though. So we beat we beat the Peruvian overclocking clocker Jarp Soft. No offense, but let's save this run. This is great. Almost an hour spent in W Prime. Is it gonna fit? Should I be setting priority on Affinity and SuperPi? I wonder if it makes a difference. These loops are gonna be so long, it's incredible. So what are we aiming for? About a minute? Let's look at this run. 29. Okay, 26, so quite a bit faster. What about Paul Danson? Loop 14 is a 36. Okay, so we're even beating Paul Danson, whoever that may be. What about Chinito from Mexico? 47 seconds. Ooh, is that an invalid run? The last loop isn't shown. Okay, let's I may not be able to show you bias, but I'll be telling you what I'm doing there. So that was a 210 BCLK. Let's do a full 10% overclock, 220. See how that goes. Well, you see the postcode at least, so that's good. So yeah, that's the other thing I don't like about this capture card is how it just, I suppose it's informative, but it's not, it's a bit ugly how it does that. I'm now in BIOS. This is like talk radio. Jumper free configuration. 210 FSB. I mean, I'm sure you could probably use clock gen or whatever. Look at those postcodes. Oh, the other thing that arrived was, if I knew where I put it. Man, I thought I had it right here. I have a working PCI 32-bit ribbon cable now. It's kind of fun. Should try and run a GPU off of it for shits and giggles once. Oh, this person is actually using ClockGen. Now I'm feeling you know, sort of adventurous. Okay, let's see that our overclock really applied. Nah, I don't want to install any drivers. It's crazy to think that 1760 megahertz is a 10% overclock on this thing already. Just genius. Or just like so weird. So we're trying to beat it. Oh wow. Wow. This is a now you will almost never see this. I think this is a now banned, outdated version of SuperPi. SuperPi has been at version 1.5 for, you know, 15 years or longer. But I think this is a version that predates that, so 1.4 or something. So we have this odd combination of, or is this like, is this actually Vista or an XP skin, like an XP skin to Vista? But I thought it was invalid, but it's actually a version of SuperPi that didn't go in below second precision. That's crazy. So the loop time we're trying to beat is a 24-second flat. Wow. Now I've seen everything. So what's going to be next? The last time I tried to do full LN203 on stream, it didn't go very well. So that's going to be off stream. What's what's cooking? What do I what have I not benched for a long time? So that's a 50-second run. Do we lose a bit in the end there? 24. No, okay. Let's try clock gen. What's the worst that can happen? I should have it on here. Weird, but no big deal. Let's I want to break those 50 seconds. I'll give the RAM a little bit more just in case it starts complaining or whatever, even though it's on auto everything. So, and you know, this is a fascinating run on so many different levels because it's also invalid or it also predates the requirement to have the memory CPU Z in 1M validation screenshots, believe it or not. All right, so I'm disabling audio, disabling LAN just for the sake of not getting those prompts anymore. And what the hell? I'll just give the DDR stick 2.8 volts. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? And I'm trying 225 BCLK. My voice is a bit impacted tonight. Might have to be a little bit shorter stream. 78, 84, 00. Yeah, I can see it's booting. No, it's rebooting. Okay. Just to make sure it's not the core. Is it gonna hang on 78? No. To make sure it's not the core, I'm gonna give it 50 millivolts more. That's gonna be safe. It's 90 nanometer. Should be able to do like 1.7. No big deal. It does seem to sort of stick on 78 a little bit more than I would expect. AA is a good sign. Nope. I have a feeling it's the DDR voltage causing trouble. So I'm gonna auto that again. So that's looking a bit better, but still not great. Let's keep giving it more. Let's give it more vCore. Okay, going from 1.55 to 1.6. AA. Looks a bit healthier. Man, these XP boots with the single core take a long time. I would consider this a hang on any other system, but on this one I'm like, well, it's a single core. Same with these CPU Z opens. I guess I should even just, 1.8. We're getting up there, guys. We're getting up there. So 24-second loop 10, 12-second loop 5 is what we're looking at. Not exact. Okay, let's see if we can do a W prime. Is that really a memory thing, or is it just something else? Something very different. Who has a 5.9? Gaza on single stage. Just looking at the 2500K scores. That 32M is just immortal. 6 gigahertz single stage. It's crazy. So it is memory related. I could try bumping from auto, like just plus 100 millivolts or something. Oh, that's sweet. Quad rank memory as well. Shit. So what's a good water overclock for this thing anyway? Mr. Paco, 2.7 on air. That could be fun, just well, 1.8. Ooh, under 100 seconds. Come on, CPU-Z. You can do it. Or maybe not. Okay, reopen. There we go. Sweet. And now the vid is showing correctly. Interesting stuff. I have to say, I'm learning a lot. I don't know how relevant the stuff is that I'm learning, but I'm learning a lot. .672. Okay, so we had issues. I mean, those timings are fine. Let's just give it another 100 millivolts. Okay. Jumper fray. So so DDR seems to default to 2.5, so let's do 2.6. People were telling me all sorts of horror stories about VIA chipsets This seems pretty like civilized, to be honest. When it doesn't boot, you give it more VCore and then it boots. What more could you want? Anyone in the chat ever run 754 before? Oh, we've got Fatboy on the chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you're all safe and sound down there in lockdown Victoria. Whoops. Okay, that was probably just a random reboot. Let's give it another go at the same settings. I don't know. Excuse me. No, sleep. The weekend is coming up though, so that's promising. I mean, this is supposed to be TCCC, I think, but I don't know how good this RAM really is. Let's see if we can set a different RAM divider. I just want to see the max core. Okay, so that is a... So we can set memory timings, but there's no divider on this board. Let's try the top voltage again. That might just be a 754 thing though. Even though like 340 bus seems a bit unlikely, to be honest, on just synchronous RAM. What's a valid that is actually still valid in a way? Still loads. 250. Yeah, so other boards do seem to have memory strap. Oh, that's really limiting, isn't it? Okay. Well, what I can do is I can just run benches that don't require memory and see what the highest thing is that I can post at that strap, and then run a bench through that doesn't require memory. Basically, wow, that's... I didn't know that was a thing back in the day. Not implementing memory straps. Wow. You learn something every day. I mean, I'd be tempted to say I'm not just not finding it in the BIAS, but the BIAS is laughably small. There's a memory section and there's a so-called jumper-free section. Those are the only places you actually, you know, can overclock something. This looks like it's going places. So basically what I should really have a fan over is the VRM, which is not even digital. Let me get another fan. That's really ugly cable placement there, but there's also a distinct lack of fan headers on this thing. Okie dokes. Can I knock out a valet? Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's just give it more now that we have Ugandan knuckles. Yeah. Now that we have a nice little fan there, let's not mince our words. I think 1.7 on air with a little load on there should be acceptable. But it does seem like it's actually the RAM instability that's causing us all this heartache. But we'll see now. Give it an extra 100 millivolts. If that doesn't give us the extra 5 FSB, then it's either a really crap chip or we're just running into RAM issues. No memory straps. You learn something new every day. It's good to get the old PATA to SATA adapter fully working and all that. Okay, so it's called mem clock mode, and then you can limit to a certain ratio. So there is a strap. So I'll do 1:1, whatever that means. It sort of looks like the straps go above. I actually want a strap below. I want a half strap. I want to be able to do, let's say, like DDR 150 at 300 FSB. I found my PCI ribbon cable, by the way. It's pretty cool. Let's see what that gives us. These boards can be a bit inconsistent about what they mean with certain settings. The only way to be sure about this stuff is just set it and see what CPU-Z tells you. And sometimes you even have bugged ratios, but let's not get into that today. Oh yes, we have to RAM. Very nice. Now we should be able to push. Yes. So there's actually, I mean, I don't know why people get all hot and bothered about LAN parties on the socket. VIA Asus boards all the way, guys. It's totally proven. See, it's just legit. I think I'll just hit the button. I mean, why am I waiting for this OS to shut down cleanly? Nothing exciting is going to happen there, guys. Spoiler alert. And now it's giving this 08. Okay, so that would have been the reason to shut down cleanly, would be this 08 issue. And it usually doesn't clear by just pulling. See, even just shutting down like that, you have to pull the 20 pin. And I know what someone's going to say next. Oh, just use the reset clear CMOS jumper, but that didn't work for me either. Okay. Let's just load the profile and bias, right? No, we'll have to gonzo this. Okay, so disable LAN, disable audio. Oh, it keeps the settings. That's nice, actually. And let's do I mean, I don't see any reason why 240 wouldn't work. Anything below like 2 gigahertz would be pretty weak sauce, actually. So that's weird how you select a 1:1 ratio in order to get a 1:2 ratio. But I won't complain as long as there's a strap selectable. It could be called red, blue, green, yellow, magenta. I'd figure it out. Yeah, so many stickers on this thing. There's Elgato. There's a Corsair sticker. Gigabyte, G-Skill, AMD, AMD 64. Tons and tons and tons. Okay. Now we're talking. I think I'll limit myself to 1.7. I don't that VRM, even with a big fan on top of it, I don't trust it. 1.92 gigahertz. Will we make it to 2 gigahertz, guys? Let's valid that. Okay, so divided by 8. So since I'm bad at math, 2000 divided by 8 is 250. Just for insurance, let's do yeah, let's let the OS shut down cleanly, and then let's set 251 and bias and see how we go. I don't want to pull the 20 pin, but I also don't really want to wait for this weird OS nonsense going on here. Fuck it. Let's try power down rather than reset. See what happens there. Oh wait, like clockwork. That wasn't supposed to happen. I mean, we can pull the battery. God damn it. Earlier when I was trying this, I could also just press reset a few times and then it would maybe sort of come back. Next option is pull both the 20 pin and the battery. Imagine having to deal with this on cold. There we go. All clear. Will I remember my settings now? Probably not. Ooh, I just got a flash of the splash screen. Okay, so it did clear now, obviously, because I pulled the battery, so... So 251, CPU speed, top multi. I'll show you a nice little spinning thing there while you're waiting. Performance mode, auto. Confusingly, memory settings are under the CPU setting. And disable the audio, disable the LAN. It's even got a game port. Impressive. See, now I don't know if it's actually failing to post because I'm setting stuff that's too aggressive, or it's having that 01 issue again. 08 rather. Sometimes boards as well don't like all their settings applied at once, sort of thing. I should maybe disable devices, set max multi, save, go back into BIOS, apply voltages, that kind of thing. Weird. Okay, yeah, let's do step by step by step. After all, that's all overclocking is, isn't it? One step at a time until you get the world records. So it's on 85, which is usually actually a pretty good code, but it's not sending any display out. So I'm just giving it one more reboot. Ah, there we go. Magic. CPU over voltage error. No, I don't want... Ignore over voltage, ignore over temperature, ignore missing fan speeds. All that good stuff. I think I'll just disable devices and then clean reboot. Let's give it one more go. This thing must be chewing through like the battery or something. Okay, let's pull the battery. Okay. I left it out last time, so... Okay, what's the absolute minimum? I think what I'll do is load optimize defaults, then apply just a vCore or something. So here's the weird hang on 85 again, but now if I reboot, it's probably going to be okay. Yeah, so it's displaying something. Or maybe not. Let me just, this is just a single core, so maybe it's getting overloaded with all the delete hits. So just gonna park my hands over here and see what happens. See, it's sort of initializing the screen, but it's not outputting anything onto it. Okay, one more. I feel like the times that it hangs on 78 for a long time are usually more successful. All right. Well, whatever's going on there, I'm sure it'll all be sort of diagnosed at some point. Yeah. That's the stream for tonight, I guess. I ran out of wine. I got a valid. Got a 15-minute W prime. I can't really complain too much. Got a bit of experience on the new capture card. Finally used the PATA to SATA adapter. Used a new video card. The new video card, it's very interesting. It's like half height and stuff. Just got these big memory ICs on the back. Yeah, and I think it's worth a lot of hardware points as well. It's almost like this is what a server graphics card would look like today, but back in the day that was a low-end graphics card, believe it or not, passively cooled and all that. Right, next Friday, probably no stream. But when the next stream happens, it'll be LN2, I'm pretty sure. So I'm looking forward to that, guys. Hopefully I can think of another capture card to try. Yes. Always the culprit. When I get a record, it's because of this, and when it doesn't work, it's because of this as well. So, yes. It's an Alien, by the way. Bought it in Roswell, New Mexico. Anyway, thanks all for watching. Pretty chill out stream tonight, but next stream will be LN2. I haven't thought of the bench or the hardware yet, but I'll let you know once I know. Enjoy your weekend. Until next time.